Welcome to Daily Crypto, episode 45. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the really fast-paced, always evolving world of cryptocurrency. Our mission, like always, is to cut through all that noise, pull out the most important bits of knowledge from the latest market stuff and news. We want to help you feel genuinely clued in quickly about what's really moving the needle in crypto. It's dynamic, yeah, full of surprises, and we've got some pretty critical insights to unpack together. So let's start with a quick look, a snapshot of the current market pulse. How are the majors doing right now? What are the immediate moves we're seeing?
Okay, yeah, let's look at the numbers. Bitcoin is trading around $117,720. That's up nearly, let's see, 0.77%. Ethereum, it's at $2,963, but it's actually down slightly, about 0.19%. BNB is holding around $695, up about the same as Bitcoin, roughly 0.75%. Solana's down a bit more, just under 1%, sitting at 102.63. But the one that really jumps out right now, that's XRP. It's seen a pretty significant rally, actually, up over 8.5% to $2.80.
Wow, okay, 8.5% for XRP. That's noticeable.
Definitely. And interestingly, while XRP is surging, we're seeing some quite different moves in the meme coin space. Shiba Inu is down about 0.5%. It's 0.0000134. Pepe has dropped a bit more, over 2%, to 0.0000125. Bonk is down pretty significantly, actually, over 8% at 0.0000223. And Dogwifhat, WIF, is also down substantially, nearly 7% at around 98 cents. Oh, and Plopcat, too, lost almost 3%, trading around 36 cents.
Huh. That's quite a contrast, isn't it? You've got XRP popping while Bonk and Oreo for taking a serious hit. What stands out to you there? What's the story behind these, well, really varied movements?
Well, what's fascinating is just how clear that split is.
Hmm.
XRP's strong rally, it suggests something specific, right? Maybe some positive news, renewed confidence, perhaps some regulatory fog lifting that's making investors rethink its potential.
Okay.
But then, yeah, in stark contrast, those big dips in meme coins like Bonk and Dogwifhat, that could signal a broader shift, maybe sentiment moving away from this super speculative stuff.
A correction, maybe.
Could be. Or maybe just capital rotating.
Right.
Moving into assets that people see as having more fundamental use cases or clearer paths forward, regulation-wise. It really shows how different parts of the crypto market can just move completely independently. Depends on their own drivers, investor moods, all that.
Right. And that kind of leads us to the bigger picture. This is where it gets really interesting. Beyond just the daily ups and downs, what are the larger forces, the macro trends, that are really shaping the crypto market these days?
Yeah, connecting these dots, analysts are pointing out that Bitcoin's recent breakout, hitting its sixth all-time high in less than 2 days maybe, isn't just about the Fed this time.
Sixth one.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It seems to be more about fundamental changes in the market structure itself. Suggests a deeper, maybe more resilient demand building up. And then there's the political narrative layer, which is getting, well, louder. We're seeing reports like from WLFI News about former President Trump's crypto holdings apparently going up. And there's more talk about, open crypto trading. Plus, there's this whole conversation buzzing around the potential for what some people are calling a first-ever pro-crypto U.S. administration, whether that's, a big deal right away or more of a slow burn.
Interesting. So politics playing a bigger role, potentially.
It raises that big question, doesn't it? How much will political endorsements or even just shifts in regulatory tones really drive adoption and market feeling moving forward? We've already seen some interesting dynamics play out, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple all rallied recently when some of the uncertainty around Trump's tariff ideas seemed to clear up. Bitcoin was even looking like it might eye $130,000.
And that was while traditional markets were shaky on the same news.
Precisely. The Dow Jones was actually declining because of those tariff threats. So that contrast is intriguing. It might suggest some investors are starting to see Bitcoin differently, maybe as uncorrelated or even, dare I say, a bit of a safe haven when traditional markets get volatile.
So if someone's trying to grasp the bigger picture, what's the main takeaway from all this, beyond the daily headlines?
I think it means the crypto market is maturing, but in really complex ways. Its movements aren't just tethered to, say, Fed rates anymore, not solely anyway. Geopolitics, political talk, shifts in regulatory clarity, these are becoming really significant drivers. The market seems to be reacting more to broader sentiment shifts, the potential for mainstream acceptance, maybe more institutional involvement, especially if political figures get more involved. It's less about one single thing and more like a complex dance of many forces.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit then. Let's talk specific assets. What's the word on the street? Maybe some predictions floating around for coins like Dogecoin and, well, XRP again.
Right, Dogecoin is definitely getting some attention. Analysts are suggesting it's looking bullish. There's talk of a potential breakout above 15 cents.
Okay.
And if that holds, something could fuel a run towards maybe 32 cents. For XRP, well, its price is recovering towards $2.42, like we saw with that jump. And there seems to be positive vibes coming from platforms like Winter Mining. Their users are apparently seeing daily earnings go up, and there's still that ongoing chatter, the speculation about XRP getting closer to some kind of massive breakout. Some people are even pointing towards July 2025 as a potential time frame.
July 2025, that's specific.
It is. Very speculative, of course. Then you've got Pi Network. That's a project that's been around developing for a while. The forecast for 2025 raises questions about whether it can handle a big token unlock.
Ah, the unlock, when locked tokens hit the market.
Exactly. That can definitely impact supply and price.
Yeah.
Some analysts are even suggesting its price might be, and this is their term, primed for a short squeeze.
Short squeeze, okay. Interesting dynamics.
Definitely. We're also seeing things like Solana traders apparently bracing for the $120 level, maybe some volatility there, and reports that Shiba Inu is seeing some fresh demand coming in. It's worth mentioning, too, the broader crypto price predictions for 2025, looking across Bitcoin, ETH, BNB, ADA, Link, AVAX, ARB, DOT, SOL. They generally seem pretty optimistic across the board, signaling widespread market hope, maybe.
These predictions are always fascinating, aren't they? They paint these pictures of potential futures. But, I mean, given how volatile crypto is, what are the biggest risks? What could throw these long-term targets off course, and how should, listeners think about them responsibly?
That is such a crucial point. These long-term targets, like, say, Picoin hitting $1,000 by 2030, they're usually based on pretty complex stuff. Technical analysis, market sentiment, the project's perceived value or utility, sometimes just pure speculative buzz around what might happen. They often bake in assumptions about wider adoption, tech breakthroughs. But, and this is the big but, you absolutely have to stress how speculative they are. It's made by everything from surprise regulations to, major global events nobody saw coming. So these targets, best to see them as possibilities, maybe one point within a whole range of potential outcomes, definitely not guarantees. It's about understanding the potential, not banking on a fixed number.
Makes sense. Okay, moving beyond just prices and predictions, what about the tech itself? What new developments are really pushing the boundaries, changing what's actually possible in the crypto space?
Well, some really impactful things are happening with the underlying innovation, especially where crypto meets the traditional world or other new tech. For instance, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, crypto mom, she made that statement. Tokenized securities are still securities. Now, that sounds maybe dry, but it's huge.
Why is that so significant?
Because it provides a kind of regulatory clarity, a foundation, that could potentially unlock trillions, literally trillions, in traditional assets onto the blockchain. Think real estate, stocks, bonds. It means more liquidity, fractional ownership. Imagine owning a tiny piece of a skyscraper as easily as buying a share. And it's not just theory. Bitru's CMO is already talking about their tokenized stock rollout. It's happening.
Wow, okay. Tokenization. What else?
The convergence with AI is another fascinating area. Some strong opinions out there suggesting AI really needs blockchain to reach its potential. The argument is that decentralization can make AI-driven work fairer, more transparent.
AI and blockchain, interesting combo.
Yeah, and cloud mining is apparently having a bit of a comeback, a golden age, some are calling it. New approaches like Arise CH Miner strategy, aiming for stable appreciation, plus app-based solutions making it way more accessible than before. And GameFi, that blend of gaming and decentralized finance, is still evolving. You've got projects like BitSolera supposedly marking a new era, and big industry events like the Mexico Gaming Summit planned for 2026 shows real momentum.
So new platforms, new tokens too.
Absolutely. We're seeing things like Caldera launching its ERA token with an airdrop. Caldera is a modular roll-up platform.
Modular roll-up. Explain that quickly.
Sure. It's basically a layer 2 scaling solution. Processes transactions off the main blockchain to make things faster and cheaper, then bundles them back. It's all about improving scalability, making networks handle more traffic. So Caldera launching suggests progress there. We also saw Athena jump 25% just by getting listed on the Upbit exchange. And the PUMP token, its perpetual contracts, which are like futures with no expiry date, hit $120 million in open interest. That shows serious speculative betting on that new token.
And what about bigger players, institutions?
Still movement there. DDC announced a $100 million Bitcoin treasury partnership with Animoca Brands that's big in the NFT metaverse space. Smarter Web Company apparently boosted its Bitcoin holdings to over 1,200 BTC. Even the Ethereum Foundation sold off about $25.7 million worth of ETH recently. And Grayscale just added 28 new tokens to its list of assets under consideration. That signals growing institutional interest in a much wider range of digital assets beyond just Bitcoin and Ethereum.
It really does feel like almost every corner of the tech world is finding some connection, some deeper integration with crypto. It's exciting. But okay, beyond the tech buzz, it's also really vital to look at how crypto fits into the wider world. What about regulation? Security? What are the key discussions happening there?
Yeah, and this raises that constant tension, right? Exactly. The warning is, just because you comply with MiCA, don't use that as some kind of blanket marketing tool implying everything is perfectly safe. It shows they're taking a careful, measured approach to integrating crypto. And then, kind of counterintuitively maybe, there are reports that lawmakers in China are actually considering easing up on their really hard stance against digital assets. Apparently, there's a growing wave of stablecoin use there. If China does loosen up, that would be a massive geopolitical shift.
Wow, China potentially softening its stance. That would be huge.
Absolutely. But on the flip side, security.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's still a major ongoing headache. We did see one positive story. A hacker who stole funds from GMX actually returned them after negotiating a bounty. That's rare, but good to see.
It is rare.
But then you get disturbing reports, like out of Australia, about crypto ATM scams just running wild, apparently targeting older folks, people less savvy with tech. It really highlights how badly we need better user education and just more vigilance. And Robinhood got hit with a second investigation over potentially misleading crypto marketing. That signals regulators are really sharpening their focus on how platforms talk about risks and rewards to ordinary users.
So increased scrutiny on marketing, too.
It seems like it. And globally, the crypto world keeps connecting. You've got the Russian crypto industry gathering for a big summit in September. Istanbul Blockchain Week apparently broke records. And Eric Trump is set to headline Bitcoin Asia in Hong Kong. It just shows this expanding, diverse global footprint events interest everything.
It really is that constant dance, isn't it? Relentless innovation pushing forward while regulation tries to keep pace and ensure safety. Okay, so for people listening, maybe those just getting started or perhaps folks looking to just deepen their basic understanding, what are some of the fundamental takeaways from this whole deep dive, looking across all these different angles?
Well, first, just on a practical level, it's interesting that there are now apparently 5 different ways you can actually buy Bitcoin in person using cash.
Yeah.
That shows it's becoming more accessible beyond just the online exchanges.
Right, more ways to get in.
And that connects to those bigger narratives like the potential shift in China. Even with their history of bans, the fact that there's even talk of loosening things up shows this global rethinking that's happening. On the tech side, there's that ongoing debate. Using AI for crypto prediction, is it real? Is it hype? That kind of shows the blend of cutting-edge tech and, frankly, speculation in this space. And understanding some of the more complex concepts is also pretty key if you want to navigate this market. Like knowing what wrapped stETH is, basically. It's a token that represents Ethereum you've staked in Lido, plus the rewards it's earning. Lets you use that staked value elsewhere.
Okay, so like a claim ticket for staked ETH.
Kind of, yeah. Or getting a handle on what Cody does. They focus on enterprise-level blockchain stuff. Understanding these specific technologies matters. And finally, looking at market sentiment, you have influential voices like Arthur Hayes, now signaling the possible start of a monster alt season.
Alt season. When coins other than Bitcoin take off.
Exactly. An extended period where altcoins see big gains because the overall market mood turns bullish. It just illustrates how these underlying sentiment shifts can drive really dramatic moves across the whole ecosystem we've been talking about.
Yeah, this information definitely paints a picture of just how diverse the crypto world is. It's not just numbers on a screen. It's tech, it's regulation, it's global politics, real-world implications.
Exactly right. And understanding these different trends, how they connect, hopefully helps you navigate the space a bit more effectively, maybe even a bit more safely. Knowledge is great, but it's most valuable when it's not just data points, right? When you actually understand it and can apply it to make sense of this landscape that changes so darn fast.
Absolutely. Well said. So that leaves us with the final thought for you to ponder. Given everything we've discussed today, this incredible pace of innovation, the shifts in global sentiment, especially those breakthroughs in tokenized assets and decentralized AI, what might the world of traditional finance actually look like, say, 5 years from now, specifically because of these crypto-driven changes? Something to think about as you go about your day. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into the latest in cryptocurrency.